In December of 1994, Margaret Rudin was really excited about a new antique business that her husband Ron helped her set up.
December 17th was Margaret's grand opening of her new antique store in Ron's strip mall. It was her big opening that weekend.
Ron came because he kind of played host, you know, like, this is my shop, this is my wife. I was excited about it because Ron was happy and being supportive. I thought it was gonna all work out and be perfect.
Margaret leaves the grand opening and goes home. She and Ron had a plan to go to a movie, and that didn't work out, so she decides, let's go back to the antique store.
She said she closed the antique store late, very late. She went over to see another tenant and, just to talk and chat.
Margaret claims she went back home at about 2 o'clock in the morning.
Ron's car wasn't there. The burglar alarm wasn't on. And I thought, well, that's strange. I thought, I'm so tired, I'm just gonna go to bed. Maybe he did go meet somebody.
Next morning, Ron's employees get to the real estate office and there's no sign of Ron Rudin.
Uniformly, all his coworkers and friends said he was in the office every morning, 8 a.m., very dependable. The fact he didn't show up was so unusual.
Ron Rudin is one of these guys who tells people where he is at all times. He is never, ever missing. And now he is.
I knew something he was going to be doing that most people didn't know about. He was selling the Lee Canyon property on Wednesday. So I knew that he might want to see it one last time.
The first thing Margaret did on Monday morning when Ron wasn't home is she called her friend up on the mountain and said, have you seen Ron up there? And Ron used to keep a trailer up here. He would just spend the night in the trailer. And so they searched the whole property, and there was no sign of Ron.
She called all the relatives. She sounded very frightened, and she said, I don't know where Ron is. I don't know what to do. I don't know what's happened to him.
I called missing persons the 19th, and the cop said, call us back when it's been 48 hours.
Ron's coworkers and friends were immediately suspicious of Margaret.
I call in the morning, the secretary says, he didn't come in this morning. I says, uh-oh. I turned to my wife. I says, I think Margaret did something to Ron.
And detectives did a cursory search of the shop and the house. At that time, they didn't find anything that would give them, cause to investigate any further. When the detectives talked to her, she didn't seem to be worried about Ron being missing. She seemed to be more concerned about his finances.
The suspicion only grew after investigators learned about that ominous directive that Ron added to his trust.
Ron wrote in his will that if any of his beneficiaries were involved in his death, either directly or indirectly, that they should receive nothing.
The will that if I die a violent death, take extraordinary means to investigate. So certainly there is a lot of motive there for Margaret.
The police think this was about money, and that Margaret was greedy and she wanted his fortune.
Margaret and the two trustees of Ron's estate were among the beneficiaries. According to Ron's attorney, Ron said Margaret was becoming, quote, vicious and violent. Without naming Margaret specifically, in 1991, Ron executed that secret directive to the trustees. 2 years later, though, things between them seemed to have improved, so Ron increased her share.
Well, he increased it finally, I think it was 60%. And you generally don't give more to people that you're having a problem with.
Because the cops were so focused on Margaret right out of the gate, they may have been overlooking another possible motive in Ron's disappearance, that huge Lee Canyon development project.
Now, this deal that he was working on, he disappeared 2 days before he was due to settle. Well, that's motive.
And so that was one of the theories early on in the case, is that perhaps that dealing, that purchase, was perhaps behind the killing of Ron Rudin.
Ron Rudin is missing for 4 days, and then a huge development.
We heard that they found his Cadillac.
This is the Crazy Horse 2 Gentlemen's Club here in Las Vegas. And the significance of this place is right behind this building is where Ron Rudin's car was found.
Was there anything unusual about the condition of the car when they found it?
Yes, it was backed into space for one thing, and then it was covered with dirt and mud, and like it had been rained on in the dirt. And then inside the vehicle, they found 4 sets of muddy footprints. Ron was very meticulous with his car. He even hired a guy to keep his car clean.
Now, I never believed that Ron had driven the Cadillac to the Topless Club. I always believed that it was placed there by someone that was involved.
There were muddy footprints in the car, and they recovered fingerprints that didn't belong to either Ron or Margaret. It might be an indication that, the car was cleaned.
Police also find clothing in the trunk. Despite all of these clues, weeks would then go by, and no more leads.
Have you seen this man? He's Ron Rudin, a 64-year-old realtor well known in Las Vegas.
In January of 1995, the trustees of Ron's estate put out a $25,000 reward for information leading to his whereabouts.
And he was gone. No one ever saw him again until he was found.
And a little ways up the hill, they found a bracelet, and it spelled out Ron in like diamonds.
When this happened, it was kind of a big deal.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.